Hey everyone, welcome to Lit Love, and today we're talking about the book The Correspondent by Virginia Evans, published by Crown Publishing. So this book came out last year in 2025, and it hit the bestseller list everywhere on all the places that I myself look for my next read. But I resisted it because for a long time I thought The Correspondent was going to be about a reporter or something like that. And I just felt like I was so overstimulated with news and reporters and whatnot and the state of the world and, just barraged with it. So I didn't want to read a book on my pleasure time that had to do with a reporter, if that makes any sense at all. So funny. But I read it anyway because it just kept popping up everywhere, and I have to say I loved it. I loved it, it was great. It took a little while to get into the book, mostly because the lead voice at the beginning of the book, and throughout the book really, is this older woman who's writing letters, and she's a little angry at stuff, and what I wanna say, was like just, you know, feeling like life had let her down and she didn't feel like there was much beauty out there in the world, It wasn't necessarily like she was depressed or anything like that. She'd just become a little bit bitter and incapable of seeing her role in things that weren't going her way. So very childish in a way, I would say. And the main character, this person I'm talking about, is called Sybil Van Antwerp. And the whole book is written in forms of letters and emails. And there were a few texts in there that were between the major person in the book, Sybil, and all these other people in her life. I believe it is currently being adapted for film. And I saw that it was rumored that Jane Fonda was gonna play Sybil. So look for that if you're more of a movie buff coming out, but it's definitely I don't know how they're gonna do it because the whole book is written in correspondence. So it's letters, emails, all that type of correspondence there's a bit of dialogue, but not really, I would say. The dialogue almost comes through the letters. But Sybil is just navigating life and grief and past trauma and exploring themes and connection and forgiveness. And it really illustrates the power of the written word. And that we have kind of gotten out of writing letters to one another. That was something, I mean, I'm an old person, so that was something I used to do all the time. After every birthday, I would write thank you notes. I had a correspondence with my aunt, who shares the same name as me. My mom's a sister. And I also corresponded with what are those called? Pen pals and all kinds of things when I was a kid. And there's something about putting words to actual paper and taking the time to write it out or type it out that you discover things about yourself that you didn't realize you were feeling or thinking or believing, or things you were angry at that you didn't realize you were angry at. That's why journaling is so incredibly powerful, because there's just something about the pen to paper, that kinesthetic quality of writing that allows different things to surface. It also allows you to be a little bit more brave sometimes because you're not in a dialogue with somebody. So you can say maybe things that are a bit more controversial or a bit more closer to your heart because you are not going to get a rebuttal right away. It slows down the conversation. And that's so apparent in this book. Oh, it was just so incredibly beautiful how Sybil, her transformation from this crotchety old woman who's mad about stuff to this person who is able to flow through her life. I will also say that right before I read this book, I read Joan Didion's book about her Notes to John. Oh my God, what an incredible book. I've read all of Joan Didion's work. I love her. She's amazing. I'll do a review on her at some point. But Joan actually makes a cameo in this book a couple of times, and it is incredible and amazing. And if you are a Joan Didion fan, you have to read The Correspondent because it just captured Joan so much. That voice she has in her books is so evident in The Correspondent. I really loved that, how the author brought in this other author and was so true to that person's voice. I loved it. Anytime Joan Didion shows up anywhere, I am so excited. So you have to, there's not, even though the character is this older, retired lawyer, there are other characters in this book that are younger, in midlife, in teenagerdom, and random people. Oh my gosh, her relationship with these folks, and even the relationship that blooms over her having correspondence with somebody who's helping her. It was an online person, customer service type situation. I don't wanna give it away, but that relationship that develops between her and the person who's helping her in this customer service role is it's just so great. The concepts explored in this book are vast and many, and they're explored in a new and interesting and exploratory way that allows you to really think deeply instead of being immediately triggered. You read on, and you have I just walked away after this read, which I read in just a couple of days, and I'm dyslexic, so reading I'm not a fast reader, but I love books. It just it just was so heartwarming, and it really made me explore all of the internal biases I have about older folks and what they're dealing with and where they're coming from, and seeing them as people with their own issues. And, when I was a little kid, I always thought that grown-ups or older people, they had everything because they were old now, so they got everything and they figured everything out and their life is bliss, and that's just not true. This book really illustrates that in such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way. It portrays the main character, Sybil, as witty and flawed, but overall, an endearing person, a loving person, somebody who does care about others even though she's trying really hard not to. So, I definitely think you should give this one a read. You should try it out. I laughed out loud at some of the things, and other things just touched my heart so deeply, had such incredible emotional connection. I could so much relate to Sybil and her life, and it's just confronting all these things she has to confront when she's old, like driving. Should she drive anymore? How nimble is she to go on walks? What about these other people? What about friends that are no longer in her life? What about memories she hasn't come to terms with? What about how she was looking back on her life and various relationships, and how she navigates those relationships she still has in her life that have been pretty steady, and then also embraces new relationships when they come into view. So give it a read. It's really, really worth it. You will thank me later. And it's a read for all ages, really. It's not just for older folks because the main character is an older person. That doesn't really matter because we can all relate to what Sybil is going through on some level or another. We can all relate to pushing away negative feelings about ourselves, or not feeling we're worthy of things and approaching it with anger or cantankerousness instead of really seeing things. And yeah, I loved it. Some of it's very nostalgic too. You'll remember, oh, your old neighborhood or backyard, or it's just great. It's just great. I love this book. Please give it a read. It's amazing. And in the next one, you let me know, what would you like me to read and talk about? And if you want to come on the show, also let me know. My website is julianajbruno.com, and you can reach me through there, and you can talk about a book. You can tell me you want to come on my show with me and talk about the book. All kinds of things. All books are open. If you're a local author, please reach out to me through my website. It'll be in the show notes, because I want to showcase you and your work and what amazing writers we have right here in the Santa Cruz area and the Bay Area at large. So until next time, my friends, I'm Juliana J, and this was Lit Lounge.